Why is this solar eclipse so different to the rest?
We have Sun, Moon, Rahu, Mercury, Venus, Mars on one side, Saturn on the other. We call it a stellium of planets.
You said it can affect the world in a negative way.
There could be a third world war. In the Navamsha, you're not going to believe it, but he's got Moon fallen in the sign of Scorpio. How many secrets this guy has.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to Astrology and Spirituality. In this episode, we're going to discuss the solar eclipse that is taking place on the 17th of February. And we're also going to take a look at the Epstein files. So we're going to be looking at the charts of Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, Donald Trump, and the former Prince Andrew. But before we look at that, why is this solar eclipse so different to the rest?
Well, it's different because there is going to be a lot of planets gathering together. Usually you would have a moon, sun, and one of the axes of Rahu or Ketu. But this time we have Sun, Moon, Rahu, Mercury, Venus, Mars on one side, Saturn on the other. We call it a stellium of planets. That's why it is very impactful this time.
So how often do we get a stellium of planets like that?
Not very often.
Right.
Usually we just have the two planets, Moon and Sun, sitting together, not with the rest of the planets. So this one is very different.
And then how does that impact people, and how do the planets behave when they're all sitting together?
You know, when we have solar eclipses, they impact people in authority, like leaders of the country, people in position. You could be a CEO of a company, or you could be heading something. So it impacts people like that. But when we have a lunar eclipse, it is to do with the masses. It's to do with a lot of people. So we might go through floods or volcanoes. But this one is totally different because it has got so many planets together.
So does that mean it's going to affect people in positions of authority? World leaders,
yeah.
Donald Trump, for example?
Well, definitely Donald Trump, and I can give you a little preview into it. It is going to be in his number 7 house. So Ketu is in his first house, and Rahu is in his 7th house. So it is going to impact him personally, and the 7th house is the world.
Okay. Now, before we get into Donald Trump, why is it considered, especially in Vedic astrology, karmic? Why are solar eclipses considered karmic?
Well, because Rahu and Ketu are the axes of the moon, very important. And they are karma brought forward, which is unfinished. And also the karma we're going to have in this journey of ours. So the axes are very important in a Vedic chart. So you spoke about Trump just now. And for Trump, he's a Leo rising. Ketu is in his Leo rising right now. And Rahu is in his 7th house. And that's exactly the axis this solar eclipse is taking place. And he is a leader of the free world. So we can see it's got to impact him. Yeah.
So when you say impact, are we looking at a downfall? Or
it can be. A lot of people have lost their positions. People have been executed, or people have been assassinated. So lots of things have happened. And because this has got so many other planets involved, especially Mars on one side and Saturn on the other, it is a difficult one.
Okay. And then let's just talk about Aquarius, because it's obviously taking place in Aquarius. And whenever I think of Aquarius, I think very detached, very smart, technology, that sort of thing. How is this going to affect everyday people? Okay,
so for the everyday people, it is definitely the airways, because it's an air sign. So we are looking at social media, TikToks, and like all these Epstein files which keep on coming out, emails, newspapers are producing things. On our TV screens, we are watching file after file after file. So this is how it impacts. Now, there could be people who are going to start something fresh, like it could be to do with technology, or they've come up with a great idea. Because remember, it is a new moon eclipse. So for some people, it's going to be very positive.
So we were talking earlier about the stellium of planets. We've got Venus, Mercury, Mars and Saturn sitting in Aquarius. What do these planets represent?
Okay, so straight away we know Sun is authority, Moon is emotions. So these are the two main planets always involved in eclipses. And then Mars. Mars is kind of exalted right now, and it's very near the solar eclipse. It can be wars. It can be quite lethal in people's lives. Like I said, people getting assassinated, people killing each other. Things are raging right now. So that's what Mars does. Venus is to do with love. People are ending relationships, beginning relationships. It's all to do with love and everything. And then we come to Mercury, as we spoke about the airways. It's all to do with chit chat and everything, what's coming out in our media. And that leaves Saturn. Saturn, again, is a very karmic planet, and it is in the sign of Pisces. So it is sitting in a big ocean of water. That's what Pisces is. And it's lost its way because Saturn needs discipline, structure, and it definitely needs to have boundaries. And if it can't find those things, it's going to be lost at sea. So Saturn is really trying hard to determine that. But it all depends on individuals, how they are coming through with the Saturn. So if you're lost at sea, then there are going to be more problems. And it is a very karmic planet, remember that. So where it sits in your chart makes a difference. And for Trump, since we spoke about him, it sits in the number 8 house. And 8 house is a very dark house. And so he needs to quickly get his story correct. Otherwise, he's going to be in trouble.
I mean, he is, one of the most powerful men in the world. He's obviously got the finger on the trigger when it comes to Iran.
Yeah.
Can you see that escalating? Can you see more wars coming off on the back of that?
I think when Trump says that he's not a warmonger and that he's a peacemaker, that's very contradictory because in his Leo sign, when he was born, he had Mars. We know as astrologers, when you have Mars in your first house, you're very aggressive. You are also leaders. So he can't tell me that he's looking for peace because looking at his chart and where the solar eclipse is taking place, you can see that he's not doing any good for the world. I think the wars are getting out of hand, even though he thinks he's trying to control them.
Okay. So let's come back to Trump a little later.
Yeah.
I think we should start talking about Jeffrey Epstein because there were so many people named in the Epstein files and some of the crimes that were committed are just sickening.
Yeah.
There were also, rumours of him being a spy for Mossad. There were rumours of him doing disgusting things to people. So tell me about his chart. Where are the planets in his chart and what does it represent?
Okay, straight away, since we are talking a lot about Rahu and Ketu, I can tell you that his Rahu is in Capricorn sign with the Sun. Now, Sun and Rahu are not friends, okay? So when Rahu and Sun sit together, he exploits his position. All right, so he becomes egotistical. I can do whatever I want to, and I'm going to meet as many famous people as possible, and I can do whatever I like. That's what happens with Rahu and Sun. We abuse our authority and everything. On the flip side, Ketu is in the sign of Cancer. Cancer is moon ruled, and Moon and Ketu are not friends. Again, Sun and Moon are totally against these two, Rahu and Ketu. So when we have Ketu in the 8th house, mysterious death, like we know that he died and nobody really knows how he died, and secrets. Number 8 house is a dark house in the natural zodiac. It's a sign of Scorpio. So now that he's not there, everything is coming out. He also is quite a charismatic person because he's got Mercury in the 1st house. It's a Sagittarius rising. But then that Mercury is suppressed by Saturn. Now, when Saturn is also looking at the Mercury, your mind is not always sane. You don't know what you're doing because Mercury is pressing onto your mind. Mercury is our mind, okay? So let's just isolate the Mercury. It means he likes to talk to people. He's trying to convince them, he's fine, come to my parties, do this, I can get you money, I can give you a place to go to. He did all that because of Mercury in the 1st house. But if you look at the emotional side of him, he wasn't always there. Yeah.
But I'm now trying to think of the dark side of astrology.
Yeah.
Like, what is it in his chart that would indicate all of the horrific crimes that he committed? Sex trafficking, building up dossiers and all these other, very wealthy men. and potentially being a spy. I mean, I don't think we even know the half of it.
No.
If he was, I don't know, Joe Bloggs off the street and he had this chart, would you be able to tell?
Well, you know, one thing for sure, that when we come into this world, we bring a karma that is unfinished. Karma is brought forward, and then there is karma that we make in our lifetime, okay? So no two people can have the same karma brought forward. So if Epstein was born at that time, by the way, I took his information from Astro Theme, and another person born, but not as powerful as him, but maybe he's a very academic guy because it's a good chart for academia and all that. He wouldn't go to the dark side because karma brought forward would be totally different to what Epstein has. All right. So the dark side comes from the number 8 house, Ketu. Ketu is not good when it sits in the 8th house. All right. Not only that, you spoke about abuse and everything. It's to do with Mars and Venus. He has, in the sign of Aquarius, Mars and Venus together. Everything is available to me. I can do whatever I like. It's unconventional love, okay? Or sex, call it.
Yeah.
No emotions involved here. Ketu is dulling his mind as well. And then the 8th house ruler is sitting in the 4th house. That's our emotions as well. Because the 8th house is totally ruining his emotions. All right? So when you look at this chart, we know that this man has got no real emotions. He's doing things just to be a show-off, egotistical. I can do it, and I can do it to whoever I choose to do it to. So he's not thinking correctly. So that's why he's a pest, isn't he?
Yeah.
I mean,
worse than a pest.
And Mars and Venus makes him totally sexual. And
Okay.
as I said, unconventional love. Well, I keep using the word love, but it's sex, isn't it? Because it's a physical thing whenever Mars and Venus are together. We are just attracted to the physical aspect of it, not the emotional aspect of it.
But so can you tell that he was interested in younger women?
Well, you could look at it from the moon's aspect, where moon is sitting. If you look at the 5th house from the moon, Ketu comes there, and that is our children's house. And then on the flip side, he's got Jupiter in the 5th house, but Saturn is looking at its fallen placement. So, we can put 2 and 2 together and we can say, yeah, this is a great possibility. But what's the word when you bring people in, trafficking people?
Human trafficking. Yeah.
Human trafficking, that is very evident because from the moon, Mars and Venus are in the 12th house. It's all to do with sex. It's all to do with sex, yeah.
And the 12th house, that's a very dark house.
It's a very dark house. It's our bedroom affairs. We don't want to tell people about what happens there and things like that. So, we have to look at our charts not from the aspect of the rising sign only. We also look at the moon's placement in our chart, okay? And that's very important.
So, looking at his chart, do you believe that he killed himself?
I have my doubts. Usually I would associate suicide with Saturn looking at it, because Saturn makes you very depressed and then you're not in the right state of mind, And when I look at Saturn is nowhere near his 4th house. 4th house is our endings. And when we have moon sitting by itself, and I have no aspect of Saturn looking at it, but I have Ketu looking at it, which means that he died mysteriously, not through suicide. So I'm not going to take this thing about that he died because he wanted to die. He's such an egotistical guy. He would have demolished everybody around him. He thought he was above everything. Nobody could touch him. That's the reason he got killed.
I mean, obviously, he was building up these files on everyone. He had so much evidence. It just sounds like an inside job. It sounds like someone in power had something to do with this.
I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm not going to point fingers at anybody. And before I forget my thought, I'm just looking at the Navamsha. And in the Navamsha, you're not going to believe it, but he's got moon fallen in the sign of Scorpio and karmic Saturn sitting there. Can you imagine how many secrets this guy had?
He did all of these horrible things and he flaunted it.
Yeah.
And the fact is, it was accepted behaviour.
Only because these people were involved.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So everyone is saying Epstein was this, Epstein was that. Everyone in those files had something to do with this.
Yeah. Even if it means having a meal with him.
So we've established that with Epstein, he had Mars and Venus sitting together.
Yeah.
And
in his desire house, by the way, we call the third house desire.
Yeah.
And
it was a sign of Aquarius.
It was a sign of Aquarius, which is unconventional love. And I have to keep repeating that if somebody else has got a similar chart, we can't link it with bad things only. You have to understand that Vedic astrology actually is about past karma brought forward and the path we're going to take in this lifetime. That is up to us. Do I want to be a good person or a bad person, spiritual or just an egotistical person? It's up to me how I choose to live my life.
The 8th house is all about transformations.
It is about transformations. And when you have Ketu sitting there, for God's sake, please transform. And he chose not to.
So let's talk about Ghislaine Maxwell and her chart. Where are the planets sitting? What nakshatras is she under at the moment? And who is she as a person?
Well, she again has number 8 house where Venus and Mars is sitting together.
Okay.
And she has Sun and Mercury there as well. So whenever Sun and Mercury join in a number 8 house, it is all transactions. They are not like real love. And her 8th house is the sign of Sagittarius. So she knew people globally. And it is to do with Venus and Mars in the number 8 house. Again, we've got this combination of Venus and Mars, okay? And then the other thing is her moon, because Moon and Rahu are sitting together. And that really gives you a restless mind and a mother. And then if you look at the father, I mean, look at the father sitting there in the 8th house with Venus, Mars and Sun. Sun is father. So you can imagine this girl was always yearning for, well done, Ghislaine, you've done very well. She never got that. She didn't get that approval from her parents. She was always looking for love. There was no love, okay? There were transactions.
But
there was no love.
Is it just that turns someone into a paedophile like her?
No, it shouldn't. But again, past karma brought forward. These are images we get, and people who choose to transform now, being a Sagittarius sign. She should have widened her horizons.
It's such a spiritual sign.
It is such a spiritual sign, but she chose not to.
Yeah.
And she carried on that behavior. There was an opportunity there. She didn't take it. If you look at the father's house, number 9 house, he's got Saturn, Jupiter fallen. Don't forget the number 8 house that I'm discussing with you. I'll get back to the 9th in a minute, so I don't forget. The 8th house is ruled by Jupiter. So the foundations are Jupiter. Yeah. All right? So there are 4 planets sitting there, Venus, Mars, Sun, Mercury. But then if you look at the foundations, which is Jupiter, is actually fallen in the father's house.
Yeah.
And when the foundations are not good, you can have pretty furniture lying in your front room. But if your walls are crumbling, somebody will walk in and say, oh, for God's sake, what's the matter with your home? It doesn't look so pretty, does it?
No.
So there's no foundations there. So coming back to the father. A father in the 9th house, Saturn, Jupiter and Ketu. So he had many secrets as well. But people like him, again, he could have turned into a spiritual person or transformed himself. I mean, I don't have his chart in front of me. But he chose not to. Because power is such a thing that it gets to your head and they think they are invincible.
I know that everyone says, oh, if you get so much money, the power goes to your head. But you can still, as you said, make better choices.
You can make better choices. That's what our life is all about. Choices and decisions that we make in our life. That's going to make us or break us. So people who think, oh, they can do all wrong and get away with it, karma catches up.
It gets them in the end.
It does. Whether it is this lifetime or the next one, doesn't matter. It does catch up. All these ills they have done in this lifetime are all going to be caught up.
Absolutely.
So, yes, I mean, so Ghislaine, right now, she is got eclipse happening in her 10th and the 4th house. So 10th is she's negotiating with people.
Yeah. She's
making deals with people. Whether it'll go somewhere or not, it's irrelevant. We don't know. And it is going to also be in the Leo. Her emotions are very, very hyper. Ketu is in that number 4 house. So, anything can happen. I'll be honest with you.
She must be making a lot of deals because Trump is not mentioned, A.
Yeah.
And B, the fact that she's still alive and hasn't been killed off yet tells us something.
So maybe she's got something that she's given it to somebody and that's why they won't kill her off, because if she dies then everything comes out. I don't know what's going on, but I can tell you one thing, that this eclipse is not going to bode well for her. She might think she's getting somewhere. She's not getting anywhere. So let's look at her period she's running, and that can also tell us quite a bit. I mean, she's just come out of a Mars period, which is a 7-year period. And that is a difficult one. And before that, it was a moon. So you can see this woman's been a very restless woman. And then Mars came in. And now today, as we talk, Rahu. So nothing is great about her chart right now. That goes up to the age of 79 and 9 months. Okay. So this Rahu, she is running right now, Rahu and Rahu. And as I said to you, her Rahu is sitting with the moon. How does that help her moon? It doesn't.
So what does that mean?
So Rahu gives, Rahu takes. So Rahu can give you illusions that everything is happening your way, or it can give you material things. If she was in the prison, it could give her material things. But it takes away emotionally. Emotionally, it gets to you.
So she might get small little wins, like extra luxuries in prison.
Emotionally, she's gone.
She's nowhere.
She's nowhere, yeah. She's the one person who knows it all. And I think maybe, as I said, she's given a lot of information to somebody. Nobody knows who.
Yeah, but it's very easy, isn't it, for the government to go and find them?
We don't know. They probably are still looking for that person, and they feel that we'll keep her alive and keep making deals with her, telling her, yeah, I'm going to give you a pardon or whatever. And then it might never happen. We don't know.
Yeah. Okay, so in her chart, where is the darkness? Where can you see?
Her darkness is definitely the 8th house, her Cancer sign, her Capricorn sign. There's nothing but darkness everywhere. If you look at that Taurus sign rising, she can be quite arrogant, like, I know it all and who are you to tell me whatever. That's why she sustained what she was doing.
I mean, she was born into wealth.
Yeah.
She was born into wealth, silver spoon in her mouth, and this is what she made of her life.
That's what she did. The father is sitting in the 8th house, isn't he? Sun is sitting there. I mean, I don't know what happened, but when we start looking at files that come up, like what is happening in the media right now, then you kind of put 2 and 2 together and think, what role did the father play? What was he doing?
He's in the 8th house.
Yeah.
That's usually...
It's a sex house, isn't it?
It's a sex house,
It's a sex house, yeah.
And the father is sitting there fallen.
Well, father has got a fallen Jupiter in his house,
okay.
But sun is not fallen there, but the foundations are not there in the 8th house. There are no rules, no regulations. That's what I talk about, foundations and boundaries. The boundaries are totally ripped away because of Jupiter fallen in the Capricorn sign.
And now let's look at Donald Trump.
Oh, yes.
Your favourite person.
Yeah.
How did he get to the heights he's gotten to?
So there's no secret about that. In Vedic astrology, we often notice people who are in higher places who've done very well in their lives. It's all to do with eclipses, would you believe it? So let's look at that now. If you look at Donald Trump, you will see that he was born with a full moon lunar eclipse. Rahu and Sun in the Taurus sign, which is number 10 house of status, gives you high status. Yeah, and Ketu and Moon fallen. That's where everything is going wrong. Yeah.
Okay.
If he had a better axis and not Scorpio Moon fallen, I think he would have been a great leader. But he's abusing his authority again. Look at that Scorpio sign now. Scorpio sign's got Ketu and fallen Moon sitting there. What did I speak about the Scorpio sign? Depth, dark, secrets. All right, karma to be transformed. It's no good going on the same path. Because if you look at him, he was born under Kala Sarp Yoga, which means there are no planets at the other side of the axis. Like, he was born wealthy because of his father and everything. But this guy, again, emotionally, he's not a happy guy. All right. So let's look at his rising sign. Rising sign is Leo and Mars is sitting there. That gives him authority and become a leader of the free world. Rahu and Sun gives him authority because of the eclipses that he had when he was born. But he is abusing it.
Can you tell that he is impacting the world negatively?
Yes, because of the Ketu and Moon axis. And where is this solar eclipse happening? In the number 1 house and in the number 7 house. And so it's the rest of the world and him here. So with Ketu there. So he does feel isolated right now. He feels like he's on his own. But he still wants to fight with that Mars when he was born. He still wants to fight. Regarding love, he's got Saturn and Venus in the 12th house. Saturn and Venus are not the greatest of places to be there. Like, I think he's been married before, hasn't he?
He's been married before,
Yeah.
and I think she was older.
Older, yeah.
Or the similar age to him. But you mentioned 12th house.
12th house, again, his bedroom affairs. You really think he's got a lovely sex life with this one? I don't think so.
I think Melania is plotting.
She knows something is going to go wrong. I mean, with Mars in the first house, it is a very aggressive planet. As I said, people can get assassinated or something. I mean, somebody tried.
Yeah,
remember?
someone tried, yeah.
And he's so lucky. I mean, death is written, so, he's only going to die when the death comes. So in the mode it comes, it can be quite violent. His endings are not great with Ketu and Moon fallen in the number 4 house.
Mm-hmm.
So again, mother and father were so way apart from each other, and he didn't have a great emotional life at all. I don't think the father appreciated anything he did, So again, these are all emotional phobias and things that he's grown up with, but nobody put him on the right path.
Are there any similarities between Trump's chart and Jeffrey Epstein's chart and Ghislaine Maxwell?
No, I think Jeffrey was on a different plane.
He was just a complete...
No, total
psychopath.
weirdo, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't put him in the same. I know he did like girls and he did mess around, and the language that Trump speaks and all that. It's all coming from insecurity.
He's got so much power and he's misusing it so badly.
Mm-hmm. And he doesn't care.
He doesn't care.
There is no emotional thing in him, not even a little teeny bit of
And is that
emotions.
indicated?
Yes, because of Ketu and Moon fallen.
So
this guy is a psycho, actually.
He's a psychopath.
I don't literally mean that, but he's a sociopath.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is, definitely. And he thinks power is everything, and yet, as I said, it will catch up with him. Or his family. Remember, there's another thing I want to tell you about this guy. His Leo rising and the Mars in the first house are both in a constellation, we call it nakshatra in Vedic astrology, is in Maga. Maga means these are his Pitrus. Pitrus are your ancestors. Mm-hmm. So he is thinking that this is what my ancestors would have wanted me to do. But it's not true, because he's not making good choices and decisions because of the Ketu and Moon fallen. That's quite an afflicted moon, yeah?
Yeah.
So remember one thing, that this can be very karmic. What he is doing, it can change the world in a negative way, and he can be targeted, and it doesn't have to be just him. His family can be targeted.
You said it can affect the world in a negative way.
There could be a third world war.
That was exactly my point. Is that indicated? Could all of these chain of events lead to World War III?
100%. And that's where we are going. In Vedic astrology, we know what's going to happen in 2 years' time. And Saturn falls, beginning of 28, it's going to fall. But the lead up to it, because it falls by the end of 2027 as well, temporarily. So what do you think is happening? Russia hasn't stopped warring with Ukraine. Look what he's done to Venezuela. And all these people they've sent away who were so-called thugs, you think they're just going to sit there and not do anything to him? So trust me, it's all going to catch up with him. It's all going to catch up with him.
I think we should now look at former Prince Andrew.
I can tell you that Andrew also has this combination of Venus and Mars together.
So just to confirm, as we said earlier, there are a lot of people with Venus and Mars together where it does not mean that they have this dark side.
Not the dark side, no.
Because Venus and Mars just means sexual, doesn't it?
Sexual, yeah. Physical. Yeah. Physical and sexual.
But I guess it depends on where it sits and what's aspecting. Yeah. And in those particular
And then we have
charts,
to look at other planets as well, where the moon is sitting, how is it impacted, where is Saturn sitting. It's not just one element we look at, but you will notice that majority of them had this Venus and Mars together in the first place.
Yeah.
And that made them overly sexual.
So that is a similarity between the charts.
So let's look at Prince Andrew. Now, Prince Andrew was born with the Cancer rising. Mm-hmm. Yeah? So who rules Cancer? Moon. And where is his moon sitting? In the 5th house, which is a Scorpio sign. It's fallen.
Right.
Already fallen.
Mm-hmm.
All right? So when it falls, it's not good for your mental health, okay? Because moon, again, is a thinking planet. And it's a dark, dark sign, Scorpio. So again, what is Scorpio telling the moon? Transform. He's not transforming. No. He just wanted authority. So look at his Venus and Mars, exalted Mars, would you believe it? in the Capricorn sign, and he's got Venus sitting next to it. So these are the combinations when a person is very sexual. And this is again very close. Mars is 4 degrees and Venus is 5 degrees, okay? So we know that again he's very sexually empowered, and he feels like he can do whatever, he can abuse his authority and everything. And look what happened to him. Now, when we go back to when they found out about Prince Andrew, he was running a Sadhe Sati, and that Sadhe Sati was not very easy for him.
So just quickly to confirm, if there are any listeners who don't know what a Sadhe Sati is,
okay, yeah.
It is Saturn's return.
Saturn's return from the moon. Yeah, from the moon. And he ran that, and then it all got covered up because of the other things they took over. And today, as I speak about him, the eclipse is going to take place in the number 2 sign of Leo, and the 8th house, which is his Aquarius sign. What is the 8th sign?
Sex.
Not only that, secrets and things that are going to come to light. And also he's been stripped of his status and everything, and that is the sun sitting in the 8th house. That's why he's been stripped of everything. So when we look at this, we know that it is not a great time for Andrew. Andrew has got a lot more to answer yet, okay? So let's go a little bit further, and you can see that in the Navamsha, again, he's got Ketu with moon in the Cancer sign, so emotional connection isn't there. And then Mars and Venus in Aquarius sign. That doesn't help him at all. And in Navamsha, Ketu and moon are in the number 8 house, okay? And then we move forward, and his moon is fallen so many times, okay? Moon is a thinking planet. You must understand that. And in this case, moon is him. So his decisions and choices were not great, okay? And we can't just put it down to the planets, because remember, when he came in, this was the imprint of his past lives. What you do in this lifetime is a different story, all right? So we look at our chart, and if there's a good astrologer, that astrologer would have told him, transform, otherwise you're going to be in trouble. He might not have listened when he was younger. Now this catching up with him, he would have realized why we astrologers talk about good karma. All right. So when we look at your past karmas brought forward, we look at your chart and we think that doesn't look very healthy. Come on, if you don't transform, you're going to be in trouble. But obviously, I don't know if he spoke to any astrologer.
2019 is when that infamous Newsnight episode came out.
Yes.
I think everyone remembers where they were. Could you tell that it was going to be the start of a massive downfall?
Guess what he was running? He was in the Venus period, major Venus period, from the age of 44 and 5 months old. He went into the major Venus period. This is where he's gallivanting, doing whatever he wants to. And people think, oh, he's such a charmer. Oh, he's got all these girlfriends. He was running his Sadhe Sati, which is 7.5 years of Saturn's return from the moon. He was already in a very bad place because Rahu in the 1st house, I'm talking about transits, Ketu in the 7th house, everything was getting stripped from him. Number 2, ruler, which is sun for royalty is very important. And you can see that that's why his all these negative things happened. I think something must have come out in 2010 as well, because 2010, because Venus and Mars are together.
Yeah, so Epstein was, I think, convicted in 2009. And then obviously after that, Andrew stayed in touch with him.
Stayed in touch with him. There you go, Venus and Mars around that time, all right?
And then if you look at 2019,
you can see Venus and Saturn are running together, okay?
Yeah.
So his Saturn is in his number 6 house. It's to do with his 7th house of relationships and 8th house of paying his debts off. And guess what? He's fighting his cases against people. I don't know, like he had to give I don't know how many millions to this girl.
Yeah.
So he's got a lot of enemies and everything because of the Saturn in the 6th house. That's an enemy house, and there are a lot of legal battles we have to go through. Venus, as I said, it is right opposite him with Mars, and that's why all these stories are coming out now. I was just checking out after the Sun period, which is about a 6-year period. He'll be 70 when he comes out of it in 2030, which isn't far now, all right? Guess what? He goes into the moon period for 10 whole years. It's going to be the most difficult part of his life. And that's when he will realize what he did was not correct. So yeah, and I mean, if you look at his chart, it's not brilliant. But again, like I said, whatever we do bad, our karma always catches up with us one way or the other. So we don't escape it. We think we are going to get away with it. We don't. So it's good to be on a good spiritual path. It's good to be sort of in touch with the universe and be humane.
So I think we've spoken about quite a few people in that episode. Obviously, there's just so much more to discuss, but we'd be here forever. So if you enjoyed that episode, please do subscribe and follow us. We are on YouTube, Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening. Namaste.
Namaste.